Today we had the incredibly unfortunate news that paranormal investigator and enthusiast Dan Rivera unfortunately has passed away. Now, regardless of what you think about the Annabelle doll, about Dan himself, or the paranormal in general, I think it's important to remember the context of, what's actually happened here with someone actually passing away. So please, if I can just ask anything, please be respectful down in the comments section. Keep it classy, please. Because ultimately, this is quite a tragic loss, not just for, the paranormal, but for Dan's family, friends, and loved ones. So, in case you don't know who Dan was, he's a very well-known paranormal investigator from Bridgeport, Connecticut, who sadly passed away at the age of 54 on July 13th of 2025 during the tour in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, showcasing the reportedly haunted Annabelle doll as part of the Devils on the Run tour, organised by the New England Society and Psychic Research Group, or otherwise known as the NESPR. Now, obviously, it's important to kind of remember who Dan was. So, obviously, Dan Rivera was a US Army veteran who was introduced to the paranormal phenomena at a young age, having witnessed unexplained events in his childhood home in Bridgeport. He was also an expert in the rites and rituals in Santeria, in syncretic religion, blending Yoruba traditions with Catholicism. Now, Rivera had over a decade of experience in the paranormal research and investigations, and he served with senior lead investigators for the NESPR, a Connecticut-based organization founded by Ed and Lorraine Warren before their passing, known for their work, of course, on high-profile cases like the Annabelle doll. Now, Rivera was mentioned by Lorraine Warren and worked closely with Tony Spera, her son-in-law, handling some of the most notorious artifacts in the Warrens' occult museum, including the Annabelle doll, which is said to be demonically possessed. Now, of course, earlier this year, it was announced that, the doll itself was going to be going on tour around America on the Devils on the Run tour, where he and the other NESPR members travelled across the United States displaying the Annabelle doll, which of course is a Raggedy Ann doll, linked to paranormal activity since the 1970s, obviously popularised by the Conjuring film franchise. He contributed to the tour's success through TikTok videos co-produced with paranormal investigators Ryan Daniel Boole, some garnering millions of views. The tour included a sold-out stop in Gettysburg hosted by the ghostly images of Gettysburg, drew both fascination and controversy due to the superstition surrounding the doll. Now, sadly, we had the news that he passed away suddenly in Gettysburg hotel room on July 13th of 2025. Emergency responders attempted CPR, but the cause of death remains undisclosed at this time, with an autopsy results pending as of July 15th, 2025. The Adams County coroner confirmed that the death was not suspicious, and the Annabelle doll was not present at the scene, possibly stored in a van. NESPR and colleagues, including Chris Gilleran and Ryan Buell, mourned Rivera, describing him as a passionate, kind, and charismatic figure dedicated to educating others about the paranormal. Tributes highlighted his role as a husband, father, and friend, with his work inspiring the paranormal community. Now, off the back of this, tributes are pouring out all over the place because, this is a very prominent figure within the paranormal world. The first one coming over on Facebook from the Paranormal Couples Haunted Museum, which of course is Cody and Satori. Again, regardless of what you think about Cody and Satori, I think that, we can park those opinions for today, in light of everything. And they posted, "The paranormal field is mourning a sudden passing of Dan Rivera, paranormal investigator and longtime member of NESPR. Dan has been so kind, supportive and respectful to us, as well as to our museum. We send lots of love to his family, paranormal team and close friends during this difficult time," sharing some very lovely photos of them all together. Jake Hartz over on his YouTube channel has also issued a video talking about the passing of Dan Rivera, rest in peace, where he talks about it, and goes on to talk about how, this person clearly loved the paranormal field, regardless of however you think that it came about or whatever. He clearly enjoyed what he did and he loved the paranormal field. It was clear to see. And there's also been an official press release by the NESPR themselves talking about this, and they stated, "With heavy hearts, we share the sudden and heartbreaking loss of our dear friend and colleague Dan Rivera. The New England Society for Psychic Research is devastated by his passing and still is coming to terms with the profound loss. Dan was not only a vital part of our team for over a decade, but also deeply compassionate, loyal, and a dedicated friend. A US Army veteran, Dan served both his country and the people around him. He worked closely with Lorraine Warren and remained by her side even as her health declined, always offering a steady hand and unwavering support. Dan was a constant presence with Lorraine and NESPR at local events such as An Evening with Annabelle, where his warmth and professionalism left a lasting impression. His integrity, creativity, and generosity defined him. Dan's passion for the paranormal was rooted in a genuine desire to educate, help, and connect with others, whether through social media, conventions, or investigations with local families seeking understanding and peace. Dan's strong faith was a guiding light in his life. He never wavered in his belief in God and often spoke about the spiritual side of the work that we do. We find comfort in knowing that he is now at peace, reunited with the loved ones who have gone before him. His caring nature and sense of purpose made a deep impact on everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. We understand that Dan's work inspired fascination and curiosity for many, but above all, he was a father, devoted husband, and a loyal friend, someone who meant the world to those closest to him. Out of respect for his family, we kindly ask for privacy as they mourn this tremendous loss. As we navigate the days ahead, we want to share that although we do not know what the future of the NESPR will look like without Dan, we do plan to move forward with the events previously scheduled for this year. We believe that with all our hearts that Dan would have wanted our work to continue, bringing people together, sharing knowledge, and honouring the memory of Ed and Lorraine Warren. We will carry his spirit with us in everything that we do. In Dan's own words, quote, "In life, we leave a piece of ourselves with loved ones and friends on our journey until there are no longer pieces to give away. You would think that this is the end, but when you look back on all the pieces that you gave away, those pieces will always be remembered. So I say I will never die. My journey has only just begun." Dan gave so many pieces of himself through his kindness, his strength, his faith, and those pieces will live in all of us. Thank you for the thoughts and prayers and continued support during this difficult time. Dan will be missed more than words can express. Of course, very touching tribute there from the NESPR. And, of course, it's an incredibly sad day for the paranormal, but above all of that, for his family and his friends who, I can only send my sympathy and love to in this time. And again, please, if I can ask anything of anyone, please just keep it, civil and respectful down in the comment section. I'm sure that people will. There's already a lot of speculation, of course, because, he was handling the Annabelle doll, and, everyone's kind of putting two and two together and making five, speculating that the Annabelle doll was to do with the death. Personally, I don't believe so. The coronary officers said that, the doll wasn't even present for his passing, so let's just give everyone the space and privacy that they deserve. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.